girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Happy FOMC day. Margin, Captain, Golf Nut, Chef, Gibson, Trader J. What's up, Robert? Kavi. Morning, Amped. What's up, brother? Britt, Bruce. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming back, as always. Thanks for starting the morning with me. All right. Good morning, everyone. Morning. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. Smoke Divine. Careful there, brother. Careful. This is not the time to... FOMC creates a lot of emotion. And emotion usually tends to cause bad ideas. So careful. Mortgage demand surges? Really? Paul, interesting. Is that... Let me take that out. That's interesting, huh? Weekly mortgage demand surges 40% as interest rates hit 2-year low. Average contract interest is Huh. Yeah, I mean, mortgage rates are going to come down, obviously, as the Fed funds rate decreases. Interesting to see such a increase with not that big of a jump lower. Now, definitely lower, and definitely will become more enticing for some people to start, buying some mortgages if they've been interested. Here's your 30-year. That's a 300. Let's just say on like 500K with a 800 credit score. I know not everyone has that, but let's just say you do. 6%. Yeah, definitely has been coming down, right? Since July, about 1% lower. Yeah, that's interesting. This works. This is great for me. I mean, I'm building a house right now, or at least in the process of designing. And I hope I don't have to take a mortgage out. I'd like to be able to do it cash, but if I do have to take a mortgage out, this is just a good trend that I like to see. So down to around 6%. I would assume this continues to drop. I'd assume this continues to drop. Is this a good time to maybe take a variable rate mortgage? Maybe, right? If you like taking risk, if you're a little bit risky on the on your mortgage, which is usually not a good place to be risky, might not. I mean, it's not a terrible time to take a variable rate. You'd assume that rates are going to drop, over time here. That's the assumption. Of course, barring any type of black swan event where inflation starts to increase again and rates start to go back up. But, I mean, I'm not a big variable rate mortgage guy. That's just not something I'm comfortable in. But this would probably be the one time I'd ever say, hey, maybe it's a decent idea. I mean, I still don't like the idea of that, but what's the 15-year at? 15 years at 5.4. You can always refinance. right? If you do take a 30-year out, you can always, 30-year fixed, you could always refi. It's probably a better bet. Yeah, I mean, you just got to pay closing costs again. Yeah, interesting. Thanks for pointing that out, Paul. That's something I track quite often. I didn't know that information was out this morning. Appreciate that. Yeah, man, I hope we start heading into a better situation for first-time home buyers. I have a lot of buddies, around the age 27 to, 29, 27 to 30 years old, 26 to 30 years old that just sort of got screwed, to be quite honest. I bought this house. I mean, I could not have gotten luckier. I bought this house August of 2019. So pretty much 6 months before, the meltdown of the U.S. for obvious reasons. And, I mean, I locked in 2.99, and my house was $277,000. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sitting on a pretty much paid off house here just because I got lucky with timing. But I feel for, I mean, if I had to buy a house today with the income I had then, having a good job, making, let's say, 100 to 150,000 on a, good corporate job coming out of college or coming out of, being in your mid-20s, that's a tough time. That's not an easy time. It's definitely difficult, right? Paying 7% interest with houses that are double the price they were. That's like instead of it being, I pay $1,400 a month on my mortgage. This house now is probably like $3,500 a month. So it's crazy, man. I do hope that situations become better for those first-time home buyers. It looks like it is heading that way. So we shall see. What did I do before? I used to work at Hertz Rental Car. I used to be a revenue management analyst. So we would analyze the incoming demand, and we would adjust pricing based off that incoming demand. I was the person that would change your rental car prices to try to get more money out of you. All right. Let's start it up. So welcome back, everyone. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Let's get $100 or 1,000 likes to start the day. Hurts our Kirks. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, man. Every rental car company, it is such, and when you start to, really think about the back end of that company, of any rental car company, it is a very difficult thing to manage. I mean, you have so many moving parts. You got to move cars around from different airports. You have one-way cars going out. Car moves from JFK to LaGuardia. You don't get that car back in JFK. It's a lot of moving parts. It's very difficult to manage. It's a crazy business. It really is. It's a crazy business. All right, let's do it. So today, guys, enough about Hertz Rental Car. FOMC. FOMC, that's the big event. We know that. If you don't know that, then, guys, if you didn't know today was FOMC, shut your computer off right now. Go do something else today. This is not the day to not know that FOMC was incoming. Why were they? I'll talk about one last thing before. Why did they go bankrupt? They went bankrupt because Hertz was their cars were heavily bought on debt, right? So economy was good, rates were low. The company was actually doing really well, fueling up really well, but a lot of their cars, majority of their cars were financed through debt, right? Not held, not owned by the company. So a lot of debt financing. And when COVID hit and rates started to go up and, business slowed down because less travel came in, you have less travel, you have majority of your cars debt financed, and it was just a total shit show for Hertz. I mean, it was the worst possible situation. So it was like everything was looking good and then just smacked in the face. So too much debt financing. That was really it, right? Too much debt financing of their vehicles, and you can get into a sticky situation when that starts to hit, right, the wrong way. So, yeah. All right, let's get started. So you guys can see right here today, 2 o'clock, FOMC. That's really it, man. FOMC. That's really it. Jerome Powell, 2:30. And yeah, I mean that's really it, man. That's the move of the day. This morning we got building permits, housing starts, so a little bit more real estate data this morning. We'll take a look at that when we get it. Yeah, and that's it. So really nothing else to cover there. Let's just focus in on the technicals. Let's focus in on what we can maybe expect today after FOMC. But again, guys, I want to say, and I want you all to understand, that the technicals we talk about today will be less, right? You have to understand, on a big day like today with big economic data, with big external events, technicals need to be taken with a little bit more of a grain of salt, a little bit, like just a little bit more cautious around the technicals, because, right, economic events can invalidate technicals. We know that. That's very common. On a normal day where there's nothing going on, technicals are the king. They are the things that move the markets. But when you have something like FOMC come out, it could absolutely invalidate some of these levels. There'll still be reactions at the levels, but you're going to really need to lock in and see what the reactions are. You can't really trust everything 100% as much as I typically would, right? So that's that. Just want to make that little disclaimer there. FOMC can invalidate our technicals. It can move right through these levels because of that strength or that weakness. All right. So let's start on the NASDAQ futures. I mean, pretty much the same channel all week, guys, right? You've seen this sort of demand step up right down at our 19.6 area. We had that 19.630 area. I moved it down to 19.6 today. It's really just this whole zone right here. We can see the holds that came in on Monday. We can see the holds again that came in yesterday. We can see the 50 SMA, the daily 20 SMA, the 100 SMA, all just sort of keeping this market higher, right? Sort of just keeping us afloat right above these key demands, 19,600, 19,400, and these daily SMAs, right? You got 3 stacked up daily SMAs down there now, which is very interesting, right? You got the 50, the 20, and the 100 daily SMA all stacked up. And if we go out to the daily chart and we just sort of get, let's get nothing on our charts here. I want to just clean this fully up. Yeah, let's just look at it like this, right? Look at those daily SMAs stacking up there, man. You got all those daily SMAs stacked up. You got the 100, you got the 20, you got the 50, just all right under price action. So that is going to be very interesting to see if the market launch pads off this or if we do fail below it. Either way, there should be a pretty nice move from this area, from this daily SMA area that we have been seeing sort of maintain this market in the short term, right? So today, here's my assumption, right? If we get under this 19.6, if we start to really turn it into rejection points on the FOMC move, then I think you could see your move down into that 19.4, okay? That would be your downside move, under 19.6 towards 19.4, under those daily SMAs. If you start to see the market develop under the daily SMAs, under that 19.6, that yesterday low, that Thursday or that Monday low, then you probably start to see that weakness towards that 19.4. Now, 19.4 is still a level that could hold this market higher. I would want to make sure you understand that, right? 19.4 is still just a retest, right, of these previous levels right here. So 19.4, 19.4, and 19.4. So if we do drop today, right, if we do drop today under that 19.6 into that 19.4, this is still possibly, a hold area that I would be cautious of. This is still possibly just a channel here between the 19.4 and the 19.8, right? This is an area you still got to be cautious of, right? Right here, right here, right here, right? And that 19.4 right there. So let's be careful there, right? Let's be careful down at that 19.4. If we do get that drop under 19.6 today, I would just sort of, take some profits on shorts into 19.4. Just say, hey, we're at 19.4. Let me go ahead and take some profits on these shorts if I caught them correctly. Let me make sure I'm cautious of maybe that bounce back higher off this level. This is still an important demand below that will potentially keep this market up. Now, like I've been talking about all week, if we get under 19.4, that is my aggressive short idea. Okay, under 19.4, I think is a very key flip back to the bearish side. I think that is your really nice short entry today. If you can get under 19.4, I think you will quickly see this market drop and give back this right here, this straight upside move. That is my short thesis today, right? My short thesis is under 19.4 for a move back towards this 19.100. It's about 300 points of upside on the NASDAQ that I think you can very nicely catch if we are under 19.400, okay? Anything north of 19.400, anything above this level right here, very much still cautious of bounces in this area, right? Anything above 19.4 still makes me think that there is a chance of a bounce. Under 19.4, that's when I would definitely think, hey, this looks like we could get, if we start seeing those rejections, I think I'd want to navigate the short through this area right here, okay? So that's that part of the analysis on the NASDAQ futures. Now, to the upside, we very clearly have some of these supply highs that are coming in, right? We have right here, which we haven't even tested yet, the 19,925, 19,950. So that's very clear, right? If we see upside on FOMC today, you better be cautious up there. You better be careful up at that 19,925, 19,950, right? Be careful up in that area. And then even before that, you can start to see some of the rejection stepping in at the 19,820, right? Sort of this area over here. And I'm just sort of using that as that, I'm putting that line there because that's where we've seen those rejections coming in the short term. So right here, guys, these are sort of your, channel and then your extension areas, right? Right here. See that? You sort of have your channel. You have your two sort of extension areas that I would be watching. So you have the 19,820 double top highs from this week. You have the very clear 19.6 lows from this week. You have this very clear channel that has been created over the last 2 trading days, right? If you get over the 820, you probably trade up into this 925. If you trade under the 600, you probably trade towards this 400, right? So let's see. I would anticipate the market to stay within this zone all morning, right? All day until 2 o'clock. I would expect the market to do a bunch of nothing within this zone. And I would say you do not touch that with a 10-foot pole, man. I would not get involved. I'm going to tell the group today that I am probably not going to do a single thing before 2 o'clock today. There's a very high likelihood. I would say, I never say 100% because you can never be 100% on anything in the stock market, but I would say there is a over 90% chance that you do nothing inside of this channel all morning, right? Why would you? Why would you make a big move? Why would you break key levels? Why would you have a confident trade to one side before that FOMC? So if you want to, maybe look for a pop and fade today, if you want to look for a drop and pop, right? Any type of exuberant move will probably revert to a mean. So if you like trading that, which I do at times, I like sort of trading that mean reversion trade. It could be very nice, right? It could be very nice. If you get sort of that morning pop, right? That morning squeeze, bulls are like, oh yeah, baby, here we go, right? You probably can look to fade that with a very high likelihood, right? And then to the same side, if you get that big drop, bears get excited, you probably can trade that bounce and that mean reversion today before that 2 o'clock, right? So you could look for that, but, you got to make sure you know what you're doing in that situation. So 19.6, 19.820, that's your zone. Be aware of it. QQQ, very clear supply highs, right? At that 476, 478 zone. You guys can see right there. Very nice. We had those levels yesterday. We talked about not longing the market into these levels yesterday, and this was the best call of the day, man. The group and I just stayed patient up here. There was never any kind of real follow through to the upside. Nice little buyers getting trapped here, and a very nice little downside sort of later day. It took a long time, but it finally came in. And never a reason to long into this supply zone on the Qs. So that was great. Nice rejections of our zone. That was our 476, 478 zone. That was very clear on the Qs yesterday. To the downside, it looks to be like this 472, 470, and it's pouring out. And it's pouring out. 472, 472.50 looks to be that zone, right? You can see 472, 472, 472, 472 yesterday, right? I think that's probably sort of your short-term hold level to be watching out for. The bigger level below for me is the 470 level. So if I go out to the 30-minute chart, you guys can see right here, 30-minute chart on the Qs, the bigger level to me is this, right? I would be more interested in looking at it like this, to be honest. 470 to 476. You can see these major lows here at 470. You can see these major highs here at 476. You can very clearly see the channel that is being created here prior to FOMC. So you're going to want to see a move under 470 for any type of downside today, real downside, real continuation. And you're probably going to want to see a nice solid hold above this double top high for any type of real upside continuation. What I would be careful of is the 478, right? Before you long anything, I think you got to be, for me, I think you got to be over 478, right? Look at how clear this is, guys. Look at this 30-minute chart. Look at this channel that was back in late August, 478, 478, 478. It was the perfect triple top rejection on the market at 478. And that is just very clearly the level that you're going to want to see the markets break and hold above to confirm that there is more upside here. So for me today, the only way I get confident post FOMC on an upside move is a very strong hold over 478. If you get it, then I would definitely look for that upside. If you don't and you sort of start to fail in here again, right, then be very cautious, right, because that could be a very nice failure point again at 478. Okay, 478 on the Qs, major spot. Make sure you're looking at that. Below that, 470, and where I think you could get the downside continuation, right, where I think you can get a little bit more downside continuation is under 468, but more importantly, under 464.50. Let me show you why 464.50, right? I'll show you right here. Take a look at this. 464.50, that's this low, that's this double top high, that's the 100 SMA, right? So anything, and again, this is where you have to sort of understand it's maybe not a long opportunity, but it is where you shouldn't short into. Anything north of this 100 SMA at 464.50, I think could still cause some whipsaw, upside action if we do get pullbacks. That is this low, that is this double top high. Under this level right here, under 464.50 and under the 100 SMA, that is, beautiful short side moves. That is easy, flush down after this straight up move. This is really where I'd be, getting aggressive on the short side. 464.50, that would be the aggressive short. Anything above that, I think you can get a bounce off 470. I think you could see a bounce off this 468. And I think you could even see a bounce off the 100 SMA on a downside move, right? So I would be looking at 470, 468, 464.50 as those potential bounce points under 464.50. That's where I'd say, all right, it's time, right? It's time. That's the same thing as the NASDAQ right here at 19.4, right? It's the exact same thing. Okay. All right. Let's go to the ES. The S&P 500 is just sitting right under the exact same channel levels as prior. You guys can see, this is about as clear as it ever gets for you. I don't know if this could be any cleaner. You see the major rejection points here. It's the exact rejection point yesterday, and it's about as clear as it can be that you need to get above this level for the markets to go higher. You have to see a hold above the 57.25 area. You got to see a confident hold above this for that upside action. You might want to look at this on like the 15-minute today to really be safe. Or let's say, I'd say the 15-minute, right? Because the 15-minute will show you whether there's like an actual strength above a confident hold, a longer term hold above, right? So the 15-minute here on ES never really showed you much of a, hey, this looks like it's really holding. It got above it, it faked out buyers above, and it failed, right? And, maybe on the 5-minute chart, in the short term, you saw something you liked, right? So something like this, right? You see that little hold on the 5-minute. I think you need more than 5 minutes, guys, right? You need more than 5 minutes to really confirm that this is going to hold. It's such a major spot. I think you want to really say, like, you want to make it so clear. You want to be able to say with such clarity, to say, hey, we're going to hold above this level. We're holding really strong. That's what I'd want to see there to really think that this is going to continue, right? So give it that time it needs, right? Really get confirmation that it's holding above this high, because this is no joke of a high, right? And will definitely cause some fake outs, and will definitely be a tough area to break and hold above. There's no doubt. We have seen that in the past. Look at how clear those rejections are, right? And look at how nice that rejection could be again. So watch that 57.25. Be cautious of the rejections there. If the rejections come in, we could start to see that downside come in. And if you get a clean hold above it, then I think that's your move to all-time highs, right? That's your move to all-time highs. If you get a very strong hold above this level at 57.25 today, then I would assume that the ES is going to see the all-time high level at 57.78, right? That would be my assumption, if you get that hold above. Now, in the short term, there are some levels to be watching out for, as if you do drop lower. The first one is this 5,700, very short-term level, nothing I would be trading off of today, right? It definitely is respecting it. You can clearly see that right now as we talk in the pre-market. There's no doubt that it's being respected, right? You see right here, 5,700, 5,700. Nice little scalper level today. If you guys are scalpers, that's a scalp level I could watch, right? But the main channel is right here, okay? That's really the main channel high, channel low. It's that 57.25 high, and it's this 56.70 low, right? 56.70, 56.70, 56.70. That's the major low down here. This is just sort of a middle of the seesaw equilibrium level around that 5,700. If you want to scalp off it, go ahead. Now, let's make this very clear, okay? You have to, if you are bearish today, right, and you want to see the market down, right, because I already see people in the chat telling me what's going to happen today, which is absolutely ridiculous. Do not come here and tell me what's going to happen, because you don't know. I am not someone that puts any credit on someone that comes here and tells me what's going to happen, because I know you're just an egotistical trader. You do not know what's going to happen. And if it does happen, what you guessed, if it does happen, that does not make you a good trader, okay? Me coming in here today and trying to make a guess is a 50-50 chance. I can guess right today. That does not mean that I am a good trader. That is only going to egg you on to continue to make, to continue to think that you can guess what this market's do, and will just grow and grow and grow bad habits that will eventually lead you to be an unprofitable trader. That is the exact, and I know that. Trust me, I've done this for 11 years. There is no room for guessing what this market is going to do today. That is simply just creating terrible habits, and it will get you nowhere. So what you do, right, is you wait to see the levels react, and then you can make your judgment call off of what these levels could do, right? That's how you trade. So what I will tell you, right, is that for the bears or the bulls, right, to really be confirmed, they need to get outside of this channel here on the left side, okay? You have to get either under 56.40 and that 20 SMA for the bears, or you have to get over the 57.25. Anything within this zone, okay? Anything within this zone does not confirm a direction. I'm going to say that again, right? Because some people probably aren't listening. If you move lower to here, that does not mean the market's going down. If you move higher to here, that does not mean the market's going up. What do you have to see to confirm a single direction today? You have to get outside of this channel here, right? When did the market confidently move lower over the last few weeks? Right there, right? When you broke this channel low, you finally got direction on the market to the downside, okay? Today, if you break this low, then you could say, okay, I could possibly look for that trade and find that continuation to the downside towards maybe that 5,600 and maybe even lower. But if you see a move on the intraday or post FOMC that just does something like this, right, and it's sitting right at this low, this could very well be the bounce back higher, okay? You have to get outside of this channel today to confirm a direction on the market. You have to. If you trade within here, right, you are going to see possibly the same type of back and forth that just continues to fake you out, okay? This is the same thing. Traders that went ahead and shorted here at the lows, lost. Traders that longed here at the highs, lost. Traders that shorted here at the lows, lost. Longed here, lost, right? Traders that waited for the break and hold below right here, absolutely milked it, right? So you don't need to take a confident side as the market trades within this channel. Why? Right? Why take a confident side? Why guess? Why grow a bias? Why come here on the live stream and tell me what's going to happen when the market is trading within the same channel? Wait for the channel to break. Hopefully that helps you. That is coming from it's coming from a place of hopefully having people stop making stupid mistakes. It's an honest advice and it's truthful. So wait for that to break. Make sure you're watching it. That's what you're looking at today, right? Let's see what happens outside of that channel. That is what we need to wait for. All right. Now, on the SPY, here's where I'm looking at on the SPY. Here's the zone. Here's the channel that I think needs to break. It's the all-time high, and it's the 555. All-time high is 565.40. 565.40. I'm going to put that there. 565.40. Let's go right there. Let me just go ahead and do this. 565.40. This is all-time high. Okay? So, right here, right? That's your channel that you need to get out of. You need to either break under 555 today, right, for downside to really be confirmed, or you need to break and hold above the all-time high. That is my opinion there on the market. You need to either break and hold above the all-time high at 565.40, right? Really get that confident hold. Above 565.40. Or you need to break under 555 to confirm that this downside channel is broken and to confirm that downside continuation will come in. However, what most people will do today, right, is they will get tunnel vision. The market will maybe push slightly higher, right under that all-time high, and it will fail, right? But the tunnel vision will make you long before that breaks and holds. Or you will get the downside move post FOMC, right? Traders will get tunnel vision and forget about the longer term picture, right? Start shorting the market overnight here, right? And then maybe the next day or maybe in a couple weeks, you sort of hold here and this thing pops right back higher, right? So you need a confirming move outside of this channel for there to be anything meaningful on this market today. Got to. The only place that this market moved lower in the past, right, is under 555, right? You got a confident move lower under 555. That's what you need to see today if you want to short the market with confidence. So watch that 555. That's very important today. Keep that on your charts. There's some shorter term levels within the channel you can watch, right? You can see the 558. It's very clear. You can see this 559.40 area has been clear. It's okay, right? They're okay. They're middle of the channel levels. They're nothing that I would be that excited to trade off of, right? My next confident trade comes from outside of this channel, guys. It either comes from a move over the all-time highs or it comes from a drop under the 555. You could look for those scalps intraday off this 559.40, that 558, maybe this 553 level that's sort of showing you right now. But the big picture, you need to make sure you understand the big picture, right? We need to make sure we understand the big picture today. That is what today is all about. It's the big picture, right? So we need to make sure we understand it as we approach the markets. Okay? All right. So let's continue. 563, nice little level there intraday, right? Nice little level there intraday, 563. You can see highs, 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 and that low that's coming in today. Right? Am I going to long this 563 today? No, right? No. Why am I not going to long this 563 today? Because I'm not going to long right into all-time highs, okay? Right? So that's not really important, right? You can try to scalp off this 563, but I'm not going to long into all-time highs. So what's the big picture? You obviously haven't paid attention to a single thing that I've said. Let's move on. All right, IWM. Let's move on. Hourly chart, IWM, you guys can see right here, 221 major high and 216 major low, right? You can clearly see the channel that the IWM is in, right? And you need to get outside of that to trade this market confidently to either side, right? You can try to scalp this high, right, down into that 216. You could try to scalp this low back into the 222, 221, but we can very clearly see what the IWM did back here, right? After it broke under 216, that's when you got that downside confirmation. Right now, you are simply trading within that exact same zone, right? You can see right here, exact same zone. 216, 221, very clear channel high, channel low. You can look to scalp off channel high, scalp off channel low, or you can really wait for that confirmation to either side to get a more confident trade to either direction. Okay. Mr. Jones, 42,100. You guys can see right here. It's the same level, 42,100. Got to break above it. Got to hold above it, 42,100. So that's very clear. All right. Let's get into some stocks. 2,500 people here, 900 likes. Ouch. Ad time. Ad time. Ad time. All right. Stocks. Tesla. 1 hour chart. So, Tesla, just pretty much a disaster at all times, right? Pretty much a disaster for the last couple weeks. Really has not given much of anything. The only thing I could say here is that this 50 SMA is still holding. That's really the only analysis I could really provide to you right now before this FOMC event. It's that this previous high right here is still holding as a support. It's right around that 223, 225. It's right around that 50 SMA. Every drop towards this area continues to get held up. And basically in the short term, Tesla has to hold above that 223.50. It's a must, right? So you have 223.50. You have the 236 level that rejected yesterday. You have the very clear channel that we got to get outside of, right? We got to get outside of 223.50. We got to get outside of 236. We're just stuck right in between it. Let's get a move outside of it. Let's see if we can get a nice confirmation to either side. For now, this is the demand that's holding on and must hold on. If you break under the 223.50 and the 50 SMA, you probably trade back down to this 218 level, okay? All right, let's move on. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA has this little 115 low from back here. You guys can see right here. This little 115 low seems to be creating some type of a hold this morning, but nothing that I would long personally just quite yet. But we can see, right, this little 115 low right here, definitely trying to do something. This is Tuesdays. This is yesterday's lows. This is the lows from the overnight session. This 114.80, 115 zone definitely trying to hold, but I would want to see NVIDIA back over 116 to be confident, right? I would want to see NVIDIA back over 116 to be confident. You can see right there, 116 is rejecting right now. So if NVIDIA can get over 116 and turn it back into support, right, and reclaim it, then I think you can probably see upside again today, right? If we can reclaim that 116, then I think you could probably see upside again today, possibly back into that 118 area. But a beautiful rejection right at our 118 yesterday. This was the highs from Monday. This was the previous lows from Friday. This was the lows from Thursday. And look at how beautiful that rejection came in yesterday. What a beautiful rejection right at that level. So very clean there in terms of technical levels. Nice little break and retest rejection. Nice little weakness in the short term, right? You got to watch this 115 level today, the lows from yesterday, the lows from the pre-market, okay? If you reject 116 today, you probably can stay weak. If you reclaim 116 today, you might find those buyers that step back in. However, I mean, it's just not great, right? Even in that 116 to 118 area. It's really just not great, right? Even if you get over 116 today and you hold above it, it's really just not that great, even up to 118. This is sort of a messy area in here, right? I would probably be a lot more confident to trade NVIDIA over this 118 area, over this high yesterday, and over this high, and back above these lows. That would probably be where I'd be much more confident to trade NVIDIA long. In here, I don't love it. I really don't love it. It's been very sloppy in here over the last 2 days. I'd like to see it outside of this zone. So let's watch that 116 today. You might be able to find something off that. And what you can probably look for to get a read on whether NVIDIA is going to make a move today is SMH, right? SMH. So 237, you got to break 237 today on the SMH. If you want the markets to move higher, I think it has to be fueled off of a little bit of semiconductor strength. And I think you need to very much get above this 237 on the SMH. If you cannot get above that 237 today, if you fail it again today, then probably markets are going to see weakness, right? You're probably going to see more tech weakness if that SMH cannot break above 237. If it can, you might be able to get some fuel sort of added to this market, some semiconductor strength coming back in. Without that, though, I would stay cautious on the semis, right? I really don't like the semis right now with that SMH under 237. It's been very weak, right? Yesterday, it was the weakest off the open. SMH was pretty much straight down off the open and even rejected 237 again later day. And we saw that NVIDIA weakness yesterday morning, pretty much right off the open. We saw a lot of weakness on semis yesterday. So be careful on the semis. I think there's a very clear level that needs to break. It's 237. I would make sure you look for that to hold above. If you get that, then you can start to sort of, maybe start looking at some longs on the semis. But until then, I'd be slightly cautious in that idea. Microsoft. What an awesome trade yesterday. Microsoft was an awesome swing trade that we took on Monday. We gapped up on it, got a beautiful gap up, took profits pretty much off the open, still hold a little bit today, and I'm happy to be holding it because what is Microsoft doing? In terms of the technicals, Microsoft is doing everything you want it to do. It's doing everything that you want it to do. It is doing the perfect stair-stepping upside move on a day-by-day basis. Look at how clean this stair-stepping has been, right? Just sort of turning the previous highs into new lows every single day, right? And look at what it did yesterday. Yesterday, it held above the previous highs. Very nice, right? Very nice. Look at this chart. Look how clean that is. So I'm definitely going to hold a little bit of Microsoft. As long as the technicals are staying true, as long as we're above 432, as long as we hold above that level, I'm going to hold it, right? I'm going to hold it. That's it. That's how I'm going to guide my decision here. So 432 Microsoft, very nice, right? Previous highs from Monday turned into lows after the pullback yesterday and starting to push off of it again today. Let's see if we get more off this. If Microsoft pulls back to 432, look to see if it creates a little double bottom there. That could be very nice. You want to see Microsoft hold over 432 for upside moves. If it breaks back under it, then it sort of breaks down this trade. Ultimate target 446. Watch 432 today. Google. Awesome, man. The comeback trade on Google still looks great. The comeback trade has paid me very nicely, and we'll talk about that trade in a video tonight. But we've been long Google. The comeback trade has been special. It's been awesome. And today, I think there was some news that just came out. Google wins $1.7 billion EU antitrust fine appeal over 5-year-old online search advertisement case. So, let's see, right? That could be another spark to this comeback trade on Google. Obviously, FOMC is the last thing you got to watch out for. But Google just held today above 161, which is very good, right? That's a very strong, important reclaim over 161. You can see right here, 161, 161 yesterday, and look at today. You are holding above that 161. So if we hold above that 161 on Google, then I think you could start to navigate higher today towards this 165. That would be another target right up there for the comeback trade continuation. So let's see. Does Google maintain 161? If it does, I really like the way that looks, right, for more upside. Definitely watching the 161 here on Google today. Big time watch. Tesla just took off. Yeah, a little bit. Let's go to AMD. AMD maintaining well, right? A nice maintain on AMD. I like the maintain. You see the 150 and that 50 SMA right here, just sort of holding this thing up. However, there's a very clear high here, right? So you're really just in a 5-point channel here on AMD. You can see between 155 and 150. You could trade it in between that channel, but you got to know that it's a scalper, right? This is a scalper trade in here. If you get over 155 and the 100, then you could see that upside move. And if you get under 150, then you can get that downside move. But watch that channel, 150 to 155. Meta has been a juicer, man. And what a pullback on Meta to that 530 yesterday. Look at that 530. Look at that 530. Nice pullback. Nice long opportunity. Look at that 530. Beautiful, beautiful stuff on Meta. You are right back into that 540. This thing has been a beast. 540 is a major 4-hour high. And above that, you really just have all-time highs, guys. So I would watch 540. That's a major high. Above that, you have 544.79. Let me go ahead and put that exactly there, 544.79. That is your all-time high on Meta. So if you see a hold over 540 today, let me put this at 540 on the dot. If you see a hold over 540 today, you might see that all-time high, right? You might see that all-time high over 540 today. So watch 540. Make sure you're paying attention to that. It is a major supply, so be careful of the rejections. I'd rather be long here at 530 personally. But if you get over 540 and you hold, you might get that all-time high. Maybe you just wait to see if it holds above all-time highs, right? But Meta, definitely a strong name. I'd keep eyes on it as an outperformer. It continues to be a very strong name. Amazon, another pretty nice outperformer, but Amazon is approaching like the biggest level on the stock. I mean, this is the biggest level on the stock this year. Look at this 190 spot. Look at this 190 spot on Amazon. Bam, 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 and bam. That is big time 190. So I don't really like longing Amazon where it currently is. I don't like a 3-point move into 190 rejections and then getting that happening to me, right? I'm not going to be interested in that. So where Amazon is currently trading is not that intriguing. I'm not going to long right into 190 and get smacked. So be careful up here. I would not trade it long until a pullback or a hold above it, right? I would look personally for a pullback towards this 182 for another long. That would be really my long spot. Either 182 or possibly this little 183.50 spot. You can see right here. You can see these lows that were developed over the last few days. I like that 100 SMA below. I really like this 100 SMA below to be a long, right? So I would pretty much look for longs in this whole zone down here. And I would look to trade it back towards that 190. Now, of course, if we don't get that pullback, then you're going to have to look for holds above 190 to be a long player here. I would not long into 190. That would be a tough spot for me. I would like to see it be above that. Let's go to Netflix real quick. Netflix, let's just see if it holds above the all-time highs, guys. 701 was the previous all-time highs on Netflix, and it's holding right above it. So keep an eye on that 701 on Netflix. That's a big spot. I think that was all-time highs. Okay, no, it wasn't all-time high. It was all-time highs, I think, on the 4-hour. Oh, no, you got this little wick. Okay, so I'm wrong on that. Looks like this little wick goes up to like 711.30. 701, though, really showed up yesterday. 700. Might just be sort of a psych level there at 700. Yeah, it's more of just a psych level at 700. See this? 700, 700, and 700. So that is very nice on Netflix, right? The 700 holds on Netflix, I really like the look of that. I would continue to look to see if 700 holds. But yeah, it looks like 711 was like this wick high, you know, right up there. I don't know if I really call that. I mean, that is technically in the terms, that is the all-time high. So let's put it on the charts, right? That is technically the ATH because of that 4-hour chart, right? But I do like that. I do like that 700 watch. I would definitely be watching that 700. You are very close to that 711.33. I'll take this one off the charts. 1 second. This is not a all-time high. This is just a major psych level at 700. So I'd watch 700 today, and I would watch that all-time high at 711.33. Okay? 700, though, look at how that sort of cleaned up yesterday. Keep a very close eye on that. Let's go to, let's see here. What do I have? NVIDIA, AMD, Broadcom. We'll go Broadcom. We'll go TSM. Go Meta. We did Apple, Netflix, Amazon. Okay, let's go Broadcom and TSM because I have some interesting watches there. Here's Broadcom, 4-hour chart. And I sort of like how Broadcom has been holding this little 160 spot, right? Look at this little 160 and this 158 area. I like that, right? A lot of sort of holds in this area down here. I'm going to continue to watch down here. This 160 to 158 zone, this 20 and 50 SMA right below, and this little, you know, sort of downtrending move. I'd probably want to see Broadcom over 168 to really feel confident. But, right, that 160.50, that 158, that looks pretty interesting down there. I would be watching in this zone on Broadcom for strength. Watch out for that 168. Yeah, I remember that 701 coming from somewhere, man. I'm not crazy. Where does that 701 come from? It's not on my charts anymore. It's very strange. Oh, it's this high. Ah. It's from back then. Okay. That's why. Yeah. 700.99. That's what it is. Okay. I was like, why did I have that level on my charts? Like, what am I, crazy? Yeah. So that is why I had that 701 level all the way back here, back in 2021. Had to go more left. Had to go left more. That's 701 over there. But in the short term, you got that little push into 711. So, I mean, I still think that this 700 break is a very meaningful break. Like, look at this. All right, look at this, guys. That 700 level, if I draw that to the left, look at this previous all-time high. See this 700 right here? Previous all-time high? You're holding above it right now, which is very interesting, right? Right there. So, yeah. TSM, something I will be sort of monitoring here. I'm sort of intrigued by what it does here on the 166.50 area. You guys can see right here, right? 166.50. See all this? And you see this 20 and 50 SMA? You see this little flag that's building? I'm interested to see if you get this, right? The only way you get this today and you get this downtrend breakout is if FOMC is bullish and if SMH breaks the 237. So what I would do here is I would say I'm only watching TSM if we break over SMH 237 and the FOMC causes upside on the market. If those two things come true, I would make sure you flip over to TSM and get an idea of what it's doing here off this 20 and 50 SMA and see if it's starting to break this downtrend. If it is, I sort of like this TSM pullback. I would be watching it. TSM's been quiet. It's been quiet. And when TSM gets a little too quiet, right? When stocks get quiet, you want to be sort of keeping eyes on them, right? Because they could create some opportunities. So watch that 166.50 zone. Look to see if that SMH is strong today. If that is the case, then see if that TSM starts to wake up out of that downtrend. Something I would be watching today. All right, I got to go. So that's all I got for you guys. It's a very clear channel today before the FOMC. It's about as clear as it can be. If you get chopped up, guys, and you lose all your profits today, you lose all your money trying to trade in here before FOMC, I have no words, man. You got to be patient today. Do not get all crazy within this channel. This is meaningless stuff. This is meaningless stuff today. This is all meaningless. All in here means nothing. It literally means nothing besides a trade, right? You could trade it, but you can't grow a bias, okay? If you're going to trade this channel, you need to be able to decipher between I'm scalping and I'm growing a bias. Which one is it? Make sure you stay neutral. If you're going to trade in this zone, you got to stay neutral. It's so important, right? Every day could be different inside this channel. If you grow a bias in here, it causes problems. And I'm saying this from experience because not too long ago, guys, and I made a video about this. I made a video talking about the problems I had in the late part of August. I grew a bias in this area previously, right? And I was looking for those long continuation trades. And I did not do well trading in here because I was sort of still looking for that upside after this big run up to the upside, right? I talked about this on my video. You can go back and watch that. It's very important. And this time around, I'm doing a much better job just scalping this zone and not growing a bias between that channel. Let's wait for the channel to break to really believe what we're going to see on the market. All right? So press that like button, guys. We got 2,100 people here. Can we get a few more likes before we head out? Best of luck today. It's FOMC. It's not the best day to trade, even though you have the Twitter boys and the TikTok boys telling you this is the best trade of ever. This is where you'll change your life. Please do not listen to those people. Please, okay? Where you change your life and where you trade good is on days that are normal, that do not have outliers, that you can repeat the same process every single day. That is when you make a lot of money. When you can do the same repetitive process, the same repetitive strategy on a daily basis, that is where you make your money because you know what's going to happen. You have an edge. You know what's going on. You have a good idea of where your strategy is hitting. Days like today are emotional. They make big moves on the market. People get trapped. They do things that they probably wouldn't do on a normal day. And the TikTok boys lose their money. So, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, if you survive. Peace.